And hey there, hi there, ho there, and a gracious good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast, where we cover the joy and excitement of U of L women's athletics. Certainly a lot of exciting things to talk about this morning. A bit of sad in there as well, but that's kind of the way it goes in the realm of sports. We've got 4 out of 5 on tap today with you here in the broadcast. Case out, I think, getting his car serviced, or he's on the way to Burma to check out aftershave or something. I don't know. Case is so busy these days, it's ridiculous. But hey, we got good people in here today, and we're going to have a lot of fun with the broadcast. And, got Jeff McAdams manning the controls. He's been busy with corporate battles lately, sir. Hopefully you've cleared your plate for this hour.
Yeah, as much as I get frustrated with some things at work sometimes, they are very good about work-life balance. So unless something just totally catastrophic happens, my weekends are my own. So I give them credit for that. It's funny, when we were talking before the show, you asked me if I had any thoughts of going elsewhere. And I'm like, nope, really don't, because it's pretty awesome in a lot of ways. So just was a rough week.
There you go. He's hanging in there solving problems right and left. Hey, if you see this guy out on the street, smile. He'll take your picture. It's Jared Anderson. He has been very, very busy lately, taking photographs of just about everything, graduations. And Jared, just kind of fill us in here. You've been the shutterbug, haven't you?
Oh man, it's unreal just how much I've been busy just about every single day. Sometimes maybe 2 or 3 grad photos a day right now, just with everything going on and trying to squeeze it all in. But when you're trying to save up for a wedding, you need to make that extra sad money here and there. And obviously everybody's going to want their pictures for graduation season, so I'm always happy to help. And it's been I'm staying in Louisville, but it's been a mixture of U of L, Bellarmine, and Morehead State this year, with still some more planned, and trying to get the scheduling figured out based off of everybody else's schedules and potential postseason runs for certain teams that are still playing in the regular season and whatnot. So, but it's nice. I've made quite a bit of money, and taking that wad of cash to the bank yesterday felt kind of nice.
And certainly giving Cardinal Couple your tribute as well for all the great work for you.
Absolutely.
Right? Yes. Can't wait to see that check. But she's feeling worlds better than she felt yesterday. Feeling the effects of that second COVID shot. But Daryl got a good night's sleep. She's feeling better today. But yesterday you were an altered Daryl, weren't you?
I was something. Tears were flowing. Everything hurt. But don't want to scare people from getting the vaccine. They're still strong enough to handle it. Had you all talking me through it yesterday, making me feel a little less, whiny. So that helped. But Jared, important question. So when you took money to the bank, is that also to work?
Not anymore, now that I'm out of the banking world.
Oh, okay. Is this for the open bar at the wedding, I hope?
Hey, I'm in favor of it if the expenses can fit the budget.
Hey, if I don't see shrimp cocktail at that reception, I'm going to be very upset. Okay?
We may say it's vodka and tequila, and in general, it's just water with a little bit of spice in it.
Oh my god.
Shoot, this could be a BYOB if you ask me. I sit over in my corner with my bottle of Woodford Reserve singing Leonard Skinner all night long. Yeah, that'll work, buddy. And as for me, it was just an interesting week following U of L athletics, trying to keep up on some things. And a lot of stuff really happened. We're going to have an action-packed show today here with all kinds of fun stuff to talk about. I was talking with Jeff. I think we get like 7 sports to cover in this mere hour. So let's quit with the chit chat.
Hopefully you have time to get to that cornhole coverage. The all important.
Well, I did get a approval from the commission that we can officially enter in the Greater Louisville Cornhole League. Okay. Tryouts will be. I think I'm going to hold tryouts Monday at 4 a.m. in Jared Dad's backyard.
Yeah.
And All listeners, welcome to come out. If you can throw the bag, we need you on our team. So hope that works out for you real well. Case, unfortunately, won't be able to contribute and play the game, although he is a good cornhole tosser. I've gone up against Case before. There was a mean bag. But
Yeah.
Case not being with us today, we'll turn our scheduling and Twitter over to Jared. Jared is prepared for this. He's ready to go with this. So, Jared, the microphone is yours. Tell us what's happening.
Yeah, I got my handy-dandy iPad pulled up with the schedule here on GoCards.com. It's pretty eventful day here, just overall in Louisville. First of all, we had the first of, I believe, 4 graduation commencements last night out at Cardinal Stadium. 3 more today. Those began at 10 o'clock this morning, so maybe a few bedheaded people walking across stage for the first one this morning. And we do want to wish a congratulations to everybody, including those who finally get to walk a year later. Plenty of our favorite UofL student athletes are walking across stage either last night or today. Also staying here in town at 1 o'clock, baseball will play their second game of the series versus Duke. Hopefully they'll turn some stuff around after a pretty abysmal performance last night, especially from the bullpen. Softball will go ahead and play their second game of a 4-game series against North Carolina down in Chapel Hill at 5:30. Cards went and got that win last night. A good way to start that series, and a few more wins could bump them up into a first-round bye for the ACC tournament, which we'll get into later on in the show. Moving on into Sunday, softball will close out their 4-game series with a doubleheader down in Chapel Hill. This actually begins at 10 a.m. Eastern time, so make sure you're up bright and early in time to tune in. That's going to be online, ACC Network Extra, still for all the softball games. And baseball will close out their series against Duke tomorrow at 1 o'clock at Jim Patterson Stadium, ACC Network Extra as well.
Actually, they moved that game to today. They're doing a doubleheader today. Yep.
It's not been updated on the system. Okay,
yeah.
Doubleheader for Jim Patterson Stadium. So make sure you pack some sunscreen and a snack if you're going to head out there. Baseball games tend to go rather long, and you might spend a full work shift out there if you're going to baseball today. So we'll advance to Monday, and this is where it gets nice and fun for our women's golf team. They are actually hosting their first ever NCAA regional. It'll be out at the University of Louisville Golf Club in Simpsonville, so not a far drive from here, but it's a good chance to swing by the Outlet Mall while you're out there too. That is going to be a 3-day event, so that will run Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and pretty much all day of those 3 days. We've got plenty of cards that are going to be in action with that, so we will make sure to keep you up to date with those as it progresses. Starting Wednesday here at Ulmer Stadium, we do see the beginning of the softball ACC championship. 10 teams make it this year. The lowest 4 seeds will be playing Wednesday, and then we will advance to Thursday, and then the top 6 seeds who had earned a bye, and then the 2 winners from yesterday will get to compete in that. Hopefully we'll still see the cards in action as that progresses throughout the week. And then track and field will begin their ACC Outdoor Championships down in Raleigh on Thursday, May 13th. They had a pretty strong performance at the Indoor Championships not too long ago, so we are very hopeful and excited to see what they're going to pull off for the outdoor performance. Friday, we'll see the semifinal games of the Softball ACC Championship at Ulmer. Track and field will continue their outdoor championships for the ACC. Rowing will begin their ACC championships. That will be held down in Clemson, South Carolina, and should be just about an all-day event. And baseball will head down to Chapel Hill for 6 o'clock start time at North Carolina as they try and bounce back after Duke this weekend. Then we'll advance to next Saturday, and we may run into some scheduling issues if the Cards are playing in the Softball ACC Championship, because I believe that may be around a noon or 1 o'clock start time, which we would certainly be hopeful and grateful for if we see them play on Saturday. But that does wrap us up through the week and everything going on here. So we'll move over to Twitter real quick. Our fearless leader, Paulie, does tweet out as Cardinal Couple. There was plenty of information about field hockey and some softball stuff from him yesterday, and we're sure to see more throughout this weekend as a few of the teams continue playing. You'll see Jeff at 2 different Twitter accounts. His personal is at Jeff McAdams, and his UofL coverage one is going to be at Card Couple Radio. I think that one's been a little bit quieter recently. That's a little more active.
I need to get better
volleyball.
about switching to that for some of my others. Yeah.
We will work on getting you to switch over with our daily reminder text. I'll sign up to Daryl. Daryl will take care of for us. And then speaking of Daryl, she does tweet out as Daryl Faust 4, and she's been tweeting about any and everything. And I'm not sure if you tweeted about your vaccination at all, but you're plenty hyped for many of our sports that were going on yesterday. Case, who is not with us today and may be out for a couple more Saturdays in the near future, just tweet out as best case scenario that it's BST case scenario. I believe between some car stuff and a couple other things going on, we may have to send out the search dogs to track him down and make sure he's going to be okay. And then myself, I do tweet out as Mr. Anderson Jared, and once I can play catch up with all these grad photos, I'll probably start publishing some of those out there for people to see. And that catches us up for scheduling and Twitter.
Always look forward to seeing Jared's pictures, and of course, Daryl's rants are can't miss. You've got to catch her best on these. I think it's mandatory reading if you're into the sports world, or if you're just into life in general. Daryl's got an opinion. She's going to put it out there for you. And if you don't like it, that's fine. She'll just ignore you and go on with it. That's the way it works. And that's a good way to be, Daryl. Stick to your guns. And as far as Case goes, he sent me an itinerary because I was questioning, you're out for 4 out of 5 weeks. Where are you going, to Burma or something like that? Do we need to get the deputy sheriff to get the bloodhounds out and find you? He's got like car repairs today. He's got a wedding next week. He's going to the Indianapolis 500 the week after that. Then he's got another wedding. And then I think he's going to announce his run for candidate for mayor in the first week in June. So obviously Case very, very busy, but certainly we'll miss him. Make sure you read today's article. It was very, very informative and very, very well written about field hockey, and that's kind of where we'll get things started today, gang, with the Final Four. The Cards going up against Big Ten foe Michigan. The Wolverines go Big Blue, the M, as they engage Louisville in a field hockey match that was epic, that was defensive, that had its share of interesting kind of controversies, but ultimately went through 3 different phases. You had the regular game. Couldn't decide it after that. It was 1-1. So you go to the 2 overtime sessions, 10 minutes each, reduction of players on the field. Still no decision. Still tied at 1-1. So you go into the shootout, and at the end of the first shootout, it was still tied at 3-3. So you go to a sudden death shootout. So I think you need maybe a lawyer to explain the rules of field hockey and the way games are played to you. But unfortunately, Michigan scored in the overtime shootout, sudden victory. First, Louisville could not counter with a goal. And so it's Michigan who goes on to face North Carolina. I don't know. We'll just open the floor here and let you guys talk about what you saw here. Who wants to go first on this?
I'll jump.
I can go, or if Jeff or Daryl wants to go ahead, they can go.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I think we saw, like you said, a very defensive game. There weren't too many shots on goal, certainly in the first half, but the ones that were well handled by the defense, and particularly in our case, Sam Mimrath in goal did pretty well with it. So really kind of set the tone for the game, made it a real, it's that type of game that I think ends up being a real nail biter, because that's where you get the games where one goal can make the difference. And that can be frustrating to watch sometimes, but it also is exciting. So double-edged sword there.
Jeff, the first half was scoreless. There was a total of 1 shot by both teams in that first half. That coming off a penalty corner to the Louisville had an attempt but did not score. I mean, that's defense right there. That's both teams talking to each other and saying, go ahead and try and get it into the circle. You're not going to get anything done against this end. That was very exciting to watch. But after that first half, it was like the wild, wild west, Jeff.
Yeah.
They started shooting, and Michigan actually got outshot by Louisville. 8-7 edge in shots, 8-4 advantage on corners. The Cards getting a goal, Jared, with a minute 18 left in the contest to tie it up at 1-1. That was an exciting on a penalty corner there.
Yeah, it seemed like penalty corners, which have unfortunately been not UofL's strong suit in recent years. I believe they started off 0 for 7, if memory serves correctly, before they finally converted on that final one. Almost in like a desperation attempt. And just watching some of the previous penalty corners, I felt like maybe the Cards were a little bit slow off the reception there, which allowed Michigan's defense, which is already one of the best in the country, to be able to adjust and adapt, because we didn't get a shot on goal until, I believe, that point, which you got to credit Michigan's defense for. It was just nice that we did finally convert that final penalty corner, because I was getting a little frustrated, and with a minute and a half left, I was certainly worried about falling 1-0 in regulation.
Daryl, I know field hockey isn't one of your strong suits, but I know you took a great interest in reading Case's article on this, and that kind of helped you maybe understand a little bit about the action overall. Just your thoughts on this Cardinal effort.
Yeah, Jared's getting frustrated with penalty corners, and I'm getting frustrated because I can't even watch. ESPN app wasn't cooperating. I tried to watch while I was down at the bats, but unfortunately didn't get to watch and had to do the recap, which is fine because Case is so good at making sure he explains the rules as the recap is going on. So huge shout out to Case. If you want to get a better understanding of what happened yesterday, I really suggest you give that a read. But I'm glad to see or hear that it went to as long as it did. I'm glad that the Cards put up a fight. I think it makes it easier to sleep for the team, just not getting blown out, not having a good showing out there. So this is gonna be a springboard to the next couple seasons, and hopefully they just make it a little bit further. So I'm happy for the team to get as far as they did in quite the crazy season. Something we'll look back on and really applaud that team. I think Case mentioned it. We'll be able to see this as the success it is in years to come. So really proud of the team to get that goal at late in the match and push it to overtime and overtime again and overtime again. And yeah, so just a really good match overall for the program.
I think Justine Sowery in her post-game comments maybe kind of summed it up the best here when she said, making a Final Four is something that our players have always dreamed of and what we've been working for many years now towards. So she was really proud to finally get to that point. And of course, obviously, they came up against a very strong, formidable Michigan lineup, a Michigan team that only lost 2 games all season long. They knew it was going to be tough. A well-coached team. They very, very strong on both sides of the ball from top to bottom. Sowery was proud of her athletes, though, obviously, and what they've endured this season. Mind you, the Cards did participate in the fall as well as the spring field hockey, as where Michigan only took part in spring field hockey. Louisville had endured a lot. It'd been a long season, actually 2 seasons when you think about it, and the Cards stuck together well as a unit. And you got to be proud of them, their first appearance in the Final Four. Just a little disappointed, obviously, to lose a game like that, but certainly the future is bright, I think you'd have to say, for Louisville field hockey, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with Daryl that you get there, you play a good competitive game. You can't be too frustrated about that. I mean, obviously you want the outcome to be a win and move on, but only one team gets to end the season on a win like that, unless it's just a really bad team that doesn't make the tournament and then happens to get a win for the last one. But that's not the situation we're in. But if you're in the tournament, only one team gets to end on a win. Every other team in the tournament's going to end the season on a loss. you can't dwell on that too much. You look at the game that they played. It was competitive. It was a good game. They played well. They dealt with some of the frustrations that we've had throughout the year. Not the penalty corners. Still need some work there. But this is a team that is on the rise. They are doing better every year, it seems. And I'm excited to see what happens in the fall with them.
Certainly, indeed, there with that, as the Cards, although maybe losing one of the finest players in Louisville field hockey history in Meche Pastor, have a wealth.
She's actually planning to return at this point in time.
Oh, I was not aware.
They
That is
did not recognize her at the senior ceremony at the final home game of the spring season. And I thought there was a second senior that they did not recognize. And I had heard that the intention is these two seniors are hopeful to return. There's still plenty of time before the fall season starts, and you never know what life and education and certain opportunities may present itself, what will happen. But there's a good chance we'll see her back on the field in a Cardinal uniform in the fall.
Oh, that'd be such a game changer if she does come back, that's for sure. And I think she's going to be an engineer when she finally gets out of school. I think she's in the speed school and doing quite well over there, as well as Megan Snyder with academics, certainly somebody who's carried a 4.0 her entire time at Louisville. And if you can do that, that is outstanding academic work. Megan Snyder certainly one of the players I think that has helped this program build. Their momentum for years and years has gotten more and more. Megan's under the impression it's going to keep building. They're going to keep finding success. Reaching the Final Four for the first time is something that was obviously incredible for Louisville, and especially this year with everything they went through. I think that the future is very bright for Louisville field hockey here, gang. And Daryl, people will say, well, there's not much scoring in field hockey. It's kind of boring, but I think you really have to get into the whole nature and scope of the game and learn to appreciate defense if you're going to be a field hockey viewer.
Oh, yeah. I think low scoring is a good thing because it makes it, if you're down, it makes that hill seem a little less intimidating. But yeah, that net is small. The rules are tight, and it's when you get a goal, you can appreciate it more for sure. I was really excited to hear, because I'm getting text message updates that they were able to get one in that last minute and push it to overtime. I think the squad itself deserved that, and it just makes that chip on your shoulder just a little less heavy, I think, going into the next season.
Just to kind of run through that sequence again, the Cards had been pretty much owning the fourth quarter offensively, and with about 4 minutes to go in the contest, Justine Sowery pulled goalkeeper Sam Minrith from the game to put an extra offensive player out on the court or out on the field to kind of get a little more offensive going, a little extra field player in there, and it did pay off. With a minute 26 to go, the Cards had earned their 6th corner of the fourth quarter. That's pretty amazing in itself. Wow. Allie Bidding got it started. Megan Snyder provided the stop. Mercedes Pastor fired a little pass over to Minatramonti. She set up Kazmarkic's shot into the right corner of the goal with a minute 18 to go. And Amelia Kazmarkic tied it at 1-1. Her 4th goal of the year certainly came at a great time, Jared.
Yeah, we've seen some really good bright spots out of Kazmarkic so far, and she's a true freshman this year, I believe, so plenty of room to continue to grow and develop and get better throughout her time here at Louisville. But you're always looking for your next score, because you don't keep your offensive players forever. And we saw when Bethany Russ had graduated and we needed to kind of find a second person, and we've seen a couple of players step up this year with Charlie Van Oorschot and Amelia Kazmarkic. And if Meche is not able to return next year, then you really need those offensive players that can step up and carry, because yeah, it's nice to shut out your opponent, but in the end, if you don't score, you're never going to win. So it's been really fun to watch her play and just the skill level and talent that she's brought to the field this year.
And I think that Amelia was a sophomore, not to stop your train of thought there, but I think she was a sophomore this year. Let's talk about another sophomore. This one, a red shirt sophomore, and that's Sam Minrath, who was in goal for the Cards. And what a Cinderella story on her, where she basically only got on the field once in the entire fall season, and then due to people opting out and such, Sam all of a sudden got the call from Sam and said, "Guess what? You're our only goalkeeper left. So guess what you're going to do in the spring?" Hey, Sam responded quite well, I think. Just an incredible story there. A Louisville girl who Jeff is so multi-talented and became such a leader out there this spring. Really, really proud of what Minrath did.
Yeah, absolutely. She's very talented. She's a quite an artist. Is her some field of art, which is not my expertise, is her major. And she's amazing. She's a very good goalkeeper. We kind of knew that she had some skills and some talent there, but was kind of in the lineup behind Holland Barr. Holland decided not to come back for the spring, so Minrath gets the nod, and in fact is the only goalkeeper on the squad right now. I'm guessing that probably changes by fall, but I suspect Minrath pretty much has the role unless we get a transfer in that's a graduate transfer or something like that. But I would expect her to be the main goalkeeper for UofL going forward, and I'm excited to see what she's capable of. She's fairly tall, thin, not necessarily visually what you think of as a goalkeeper, but with all those pads on, all right. She's certainly active and able to move quickly, so I'm excited to see what she can do.
Certainly a leader on the field and off the field too, where players were talking about her taking charge of things in the locker room. This is a red shirt sophomore, and basically trying to get things organized, getting players fired up, pointing out things that they could do differently. So certainly the future very, very bright for Sam, indeed, as she continues on. As we get back to hopefully a normal lacrosse field hockey season next fall, where everything's done and there is no spring season, and that although it was kind of fun to watch field hockey all year, but it was such a strain, I think, and especially with COVID on the players and such, they have to play actually twice in the season, this spring and then the fall. So we'll see what happens. The Cards end the year 14-6, and Sunday night, of course, the finals is Michigan will try to take their Cinderella story up against North Carolina, who's lost once in 3 years.
Wow.
And guess who did that to them?
No idea.
Gee, I don't know.
It isn't Syracuse. It wasn't Boston College, and it definitely wasn't Duke. It was our Cardinals with a 3-1 win over them in the fall at Ulmer Stadium. I had the great pleasure of being in that game and interviewing Coach Sowery after that game, and getting the chance to revel in her excitement as she said, "I dashed up the office steps to talk to you all, Paulie." Hopefully
That'll make you feel special.
Hopefully that was before she broke out the Pappy Van Winkle. Otherwise, it could have been tragic. So
Is that her greatest voice?
that was, she had got a special bottle of that.
Yeah.
And was saving it for a special occasion. That was certainly a special occasion, beating #1 in the land, North Carolina. And I heard later on, although I wasn't able to substantiate, I heard a rumor later on that she invited Karen Shelton up for a sip of that too. So certainly kind of a bitter shot there for Karen, I think. Like, yeah, congratulations, hand me that bottle. I just have another one, Coach. But great things for Louisville field hockey. We'll give them a lot of credit for a season well played, and certainly looking forward to next year. as the Cards come back with a very strong lineup returning, a lot of key players back, and of course in that very, very tough ACC, where every game that you win there is almost counts for two, going up against such good competition. So that was the sad part of yesterday, Louisville losing, but still some optimistic for the future. Let's talk about some fun that we had yesterday, and let's start it out with softball, where those Louisville bats, they brought the bats down to Chapel Hill, to Anderson Stadium. Jared wasn't there, but it didn't matter. They said, we're going to get a bunch of home runs here. We're going to take a 5-0 lead, and we're going to win this thing 12-7 as Louisville pounded the Tar Heels 5 runs before the second out of the game, kids. Louisville hitting the ball quite well. 12 runs on 9 hits total, 4 home runs on the day. Taylor Roby got the start, finished it out, hit a 3-run home run after she left the mound. And Charlie Butler also had a home run. Charlie's been hitting the ball good lately, gang. How about that softball team, Darryl? Big, big, big down in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, I always feel a little sense of pride when I see other teams have that Louisville Slugger on their bats. And, you know, when we have our bats going, it just puts a whole new meaning to Louisville Slugger. So, yeah, good job getting things underway early for the Cards. I know we've seen some late attempts at getting some wins by the Cards, but this one was pretty early, 5-0 in the first, as you said. Glad to see no errors from this team. Something that's been kind of haunting them over the season. And yeah, like you said, the bat's getting going, and Charlie Butler finally getting one over the fence. I can't tell you how many times this season she's getting under it, but it always goes foul. And I'm like, one of these ones are going to stay in bounds. And yeah, good to hear she finally got one to go. And yeah, 4 hits, 5 runs in that first inning, and nobody left on base. So very, very efficient top of 1 for the Cards, trying to get a better seeding for the ACC tournament next week, which I'm very much looking forward to. I'm sure. And Jared, I was curious if you're going to make it out there for that at all.
I need to get with Lori on that because just due to work, I wouldn't be able to make any of Friday or any of Wednesday, and then the only game I would make Thursday would be the evening one. But then I would be fully available for Friday and Saturday. So part of it may rely on what the Cards do, and I believe if I looked at the bracket layout correctly, the 6th seed would not play until Thursday night, which I can make out. And if the Cards can sneak up into that 6th spot in the conference, I would be more than thrilled to head on out there. They're actually sitting, I believe, about half a game back from NC State right now, who's playing at Duke. So go Blue Devils for this weekend only. And obviously go Cards, but I would be more than happy to go out there. I wouldn't be overly interested in watching many of the other teams play, but I would love to see UofL in action and maybe get to see some of these seniors one final time.
Do we lose Paul?
Am I back with you now?
Yeah.
I had a little coughing spell and had to go on mute there,
okay.
But we're back with you. Jen Leonard, graduate pitcher for the Cards, came in relief of Roby. And, you usually expect her to do good things on the mound, but she grabbed a little bat there, Jeff, with a double and a home run in this game to bolster the Cards out to what was at one time a 9-7 lead going into the top of the 7th inning, and Carolina was getting a little bit fired up. They had been slowly chipping away at that Louisville lead, but that was put to rest in the top of the 7th inning as Leonard, and also a very, very big home run smacked by Ms. Greenwood as Cameron went long over the left field fence to put that thing back up to 12-7, where Louisville won this. Hey, I love to see us hit the ball.
Yeah, Jen, among the, I would call it a hit parade, but I think it's a home run parade in this case. 4 of them in the game that accounted for 3, 5, let's see, 7, 9 of our runs, of our 12 runs. So it's that's pretty impressive when you're able to play the long ball like that. It's great to see. We've watched this team all year and talked about how they sometimes struggle putting together small ball, string together hits to get the offense going and reliable. But if you're just smacking them over the fence, that matters a little less, and it's nice to be able to have that to fall back on. So, Taylor Roby, Charlie Butler, Jen Leonhardt, and Carmen Greenwood got one in the 7th inning. So all at least 2-run homers. So that's a pretty good way to generate some offense if you can get it done.
As mentioned earlier, 10 teams make the ACC tournament that will take place in Louisville next week. The Cards solidly in 7th place at 20, 25, and 1. Yes, there was actually a tie.
Yeah.
Where an
Oh,
opponent.
You're looking at their overall standings there, Paul. You'll want to switch over to the conference standings.
Well, let's do that then, Jared.
There's still a tie in there.
Yeah,
Still-
let's go to
still a
14, 9, and 1. There's still a tie there. Somebody had to leave earlier to get on the airplane, and of course that is how the convenience. They say, "Oh, hey, we got this flight we got to catch." Sorry, game over.
They thought they were gonna run rule us.
It did
So-
not happen.
I'm sitting here looking at the bracket now, and how awesome would it be if the Cards did get that 6th seed and get that final game on Thursday night? That would be awesome for the squad. I just think for good vibes and being able to get a good amount of fans out there for a late game. That would be really great, especially because that day is full of games.
And
the Cards did lock
Jared
in their
pointed
spot.
out. And go ahead. I'll go to you in just a second here, Jared. You had pointed out very, very correctly, I might add, that they go by your conference win-loss percentage to determine your final ranking for the tournament. So enlighten us more on that, sir, at 14, 19, and 1.
Yes, please.
So the win yesterday from, if I'm doing math correctly, did lock them in to the ACC tournament. So they can't fall below 10th at this point, just due to North Carolina being 8-18. So really beating North Carolina was nice yesterday. Looking ahead, Pitt, who's sitting at the 10th spot, is 12-22 for a .353 winning percentage. In theory, Pitt could get up above the Cards. They're playing Florida State this weekend. So first, congrats on the walk-off win against Florida State yesterday. But I don't see the Seminoles going 0-4 on the weekend. Georgia Tech is sitting about 2 games back from the Cards right now, and Syracuse is I'm trying to do also about 2 games back. That tie throws me for a loop here. But
So
NC
if we
State-
are able to win all 4 of these down there, let's play if then. If we win all 4, we do have a legitimate shot to get in 6th place and a first round bye, right?
Right. So the top 5 teams can still move around and shift a little bit, but Notre Dame is pretty much locked into the 5th spot at this point, and then Louisville and NC State are battling back and forth for that number 6 spot. What works well with NC State is they're playing at Duke this weekend, and Duke took the first game of the series last night. NC State's at 15-19 in the conference. The Cards are 14-19-1. I assume you consider that a half a game back. I'm not really sure entirely how that's counted and listed. So it's going to mostly fall on what Louisville does this weekend. A 4-game sweep over North Carolina. I'm sure NC State's going to lose at least one more time to Duke, if not 2 or 3 times. But you never want to rely on, let's hope they lose all their games to Duke. How about we look at it as, let's take things into our own hands and just sweep North Carolina. At worst, solidify the 7th seed. But I really do think that there's a good shot that they can get up to that 6th seed. And for Cardinals fans who may be traveling in for this, would much prefer to see a Thursday night game versus a Wednesday afternoon game. That would be almost like a play-in game.
So, a good chance for Louisville to get into that sixth and not having to play on the first day scenario. I did turn in my credentials for the ACC tournament. Hopefully, we'll be able to get out there and watch a little bit of it, and got into a little discussion with the Louisville SID about this, where it seems like up in the Ulmer Stadium press box, you've got like 3 separate areas up there, and the ACC network is taking over 2 of those areas completely just for them, all their people. No one else need apply, which means that obviously media will be relegated to the outside tent, which sits over to the left-hand side of the press box up there. I have no problems being outside. It'll do that well. If
I
the
can just
weather,
picture your papers flying across the stadium.
a 20-mile-an-hour breeze as I'm sitting there. The good thing is, Daryl, I won't have a printer up there. So that'll cut down a little bit on.
Well, let's hope that the Louisville media people think of all those things beforehand. They got to.
Which also I think poses an interesting question for you, because you've got duty going on with the Louisville Bats right now. Are you going to be able to do anything with the ACC network on these games at all?
Oh, I'm working every game. Bats
there
are
you
out
go.
of town. Yeah, these last 2 weeks have been something. I'm working every game for the network, so that Thursday is gonna be a long day, but it's not like it's hard. It's good stuff, good money, good games, hopefully. I'm excited. I think there's 9 games total. But yeah, that payday is going to be paying for my vacation, because you can guarantee after that game on Saturday, I'm hitting the road.
So,
And of course,
do they?
Daryl headed down to North Carolina, where so many other Cardinal teams have been this week and next week. We'll see what happens with that. You could have fun down there. There's some great golf courses in North Carolina if you want to dust off the clubs.
Taking a golf trip. It's like you knew.
Yeah. Well, I figured, because I know you've got the golf bug now. It's firmly entrenched in you. But
yeah, I really want to go over to UofL Golf Club and check out the tournament going there, but probably won't be able to find the time to get over there, even though the outlet malls seems very appealing. Jared.
Oh yes, I think Katie and I may be heading out there here in the next couple weeks, just to kind of do some browsing, maybe some shopping, and work on our wedding registry.
And shame to say, I've never stepped foot in it
Haven't either. Never been there.
after all the.
Oh, we need to get you all out there. There's a beef jerky outlet out there, and they've got the Adidas store out there, some Cardinal gear sometimes.
Only the essentials.
Yeah,
Exactly, you know it.
Gee, beef jerky may not be big and strong enough to draw to get me in there.
So
Yeah,
I
I'm
just
not a
had a
turkey
funny
fan.
visual of Jared, if he ever had the inclination to go shoot the golf team out there. I could just picture him like in the woods taking pictures of people. There'd probably be some great shots.
I've been out at the UofL Golf Club just one time, and that was for a SPAD golf scramble a few years ago where they needed a photographer. So that was cool to be out there, but
That is cool.
oftentimes with golf, their events either run during the week when I'm at work, or they conflict with many of the sports on campus, and I'm never able to make it out there.
I can see Lauren Hartledge on hole 18 getting ready to try and put out for a birdie to put her in the title championship for this, and then all of a sudden her backswing being interrupted with a series of click, 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 snap, snap, snaps. Jared greedily takes photos of her the whole time, and she turns and throws her putter at him. Yes, that could be the time. Speaking of Lauren Hartledge, hey, some good things happening for her. The Elizabethtown native, you all, is, of course, obviously a 4-time All-Atlantic Coast Conference honoree. She has been named to the United States team for the 2021 Palmer Cup, which will be played this year here in the States, June 11th through 13th, at the Rich Harvest Farms in Sugar Grove, Illinois. What a wonderful honor here for Cartledge, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. The only beverages there are, of course, lemonade and tea. But
Yeah, they're all bomb.
yeah, that's right. But yeah, it's a fantastic honor. She's a very fine golfer, and has represented UofL well. I can't say enough about her. She's great, and she even took a moment to speak to me in the airport once, so that was nice. We happened to cross paths there, and I saw her. You play golf for UofL, and yep. So
Jeff, I love that you recognized her. She probably loved that.
yeah. It took me a minute to put a face and name together, but I did. I mean, the team was there. They were in their cards gear, so it was pretty obvious they were a UofL sports team. But yeah, be able to say, hey, well, okay, this is golf. All right. And be able to recognize her after a minute. But yeah, it did.
Yeah, I hope my game is as good as Lauren's when I grow up.
Yeah.
Sir, we hope so as well, because that'll save on broken clubs. So there you
Lost balls.
Yeah, Hartledge, of course, one of the primary golfers over the last several years as a Cardinal, joins Cindy Lacrosse from 2006 to 2009, Sarah Muljuno from 2008-2011, and Laura Anderson is the only players in school history earn all-league honors at least 4 times during their careers. Hartledge is a 5th-year senior, so is it possible that she get that maybe for 5 years in a row? Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be amazing. Yeah.
That would be pretty neat.
I mean, it would basically be unrepeatable, right? I mean, except for, people that are active about now, right, because of the COVID extension. So
that is true.
Yeah.
So hopefully the Cards will do well out in the regional that takes place. I think they are, if I remember correctly, they are the 12 seed out of 16 teams that are participating out there, but they do have the advantage of playing on their home course and certainly know all the little intricacies in areas that other teams coming in may not. So hopefully a good showing for Louisville Golf as they take part in this regional for the NCAA. Get it done on the course cards for sure. We have a little bit of women's basketball news as well, guys and gals, to talk about, as we have Peyton Verhulst is taking part in the USA U19 USA teams tryouts. How about that? One of 27 players invited. The incoming freshman will go out there and do that next week, trying to earn one of those 12 spots for the USA U19 team. And she's got some competition, fellas, out there and girls. We got Caitlin Clark. We all know her from Iowa. Lauren Betts out of Stanford will be there. ACC is well represented indeed. Olivia Miles, Notre Dame, we certainly remember her. Jewel Spear, Wake Forest, and also Diamond Johnson out of NC State. All players that will be out there competing along with our very own Peyton Verhulst. This is such a great honor for her, and Jeff, is certainly something that bodes well for our incoming freshmen.
Yeah, absolutely. I got really excited when I saw this initially, and I was looking into it because I was like, wait, this is the team that Coach Wells coaches. But no, not anymore. He did, but they do rotate those coaches in and out. They have different coaches doing this team right now. So I thought it was an opportunity for them to get together and work, which alas won't be the case. But yes, it is absolutely a phenomenal honor to be a part of the U.S. national team. Or national team program, not the senior one, obviously, but yeah, I mean, we've had several players do these types of work with the national team, and Peyton will be the latest, and I'm excited to see her come on campus. This is going to be fun. This incoming class is going to be fun to watch. I think it's another really good class.
I think so, because Sydney Shetton, yeah, she'll be out there.
Yeah.
With the Cards.
Yep.
Still uncertain on whether Alexia Mobley
That's right.
will been in a year early or not, but certainly if she does, well, boy, what an addition she would be.
Yeah.
Certainly such a fine ball player there, but to go out and be able to compete with players like that, out there in this trial, you get 3 days to kind of go ahead and prove yourself against the best
Right.
of the 18-year-old group. And Corey Close, who was an assistant with Jeff Walls on the last go-around of the U19s, is the head coach, and Wes Moore is on the selection committee. Boy, wow.
Wow. I'm really excited about this team, and I just want to shout out the coaching staff for women's basketball, because it's got to be one of the most hardworking and consistent ones we've had in the entire program. Because I don't know how they do it, between still recruiting on days that we're playing or on weeks we're having a tournament game, remembering all these birthdays, going and finding the next best player in the transfer portal. I just don't understand how Coach Walls does all this and finds the time to sleep and be a dad, because this team coming back is going to be so exciting. And I know we get bummed when players leave, like Balagoon deciding to go elsewhere, but you got to look at what's coming in. I'm really excited to see Emily Angsler play. And I also wanted to shout out Peyton, because she follows me on Twitter. So anytime I get in my little rants on Twitter, I have to remember that Peyton and Coach Walls follow me on Twitter. So I try to keep it clean. But I love seeing the way that they are excited about joining the squad. They retweet everything UofL Twitter or women's basketball Twitter tweets. And I just hope by next season we can get fans back into the way that we're used to, because I really, really miss that women's basketball atmosphere. And I know that a lot of our players that we've signed over the years sign with us because of that atmosphere and that fan base. So really excited about the team, really happy for Coach Walls to be able to pull some of the best under his wing.
I agree with you, Daryl. I won't miss sitting up there in the upper echelons of the center either. Hopefully they get back down to the floor, because I was up there hearing the crickets or maybe the cicadas chirping during games. Wasn't too much fun, but at least we were in the house. We got to see some stuff. And just to go a little bit further into this on basketball, Jared, obviously Dana gone. No, she's gone to the WNBA. We wish her the best of luck up there. Taking a look at this lineup, who kind of steps in and says, okay, Dana's gone, it's my turn to kind of take this team over and lead? Is it Van Lith? Is it maybe Kiana Smith? Who steps up and says, she's gone, I'm next up?
Now, don't overlook Mikasa Robinson here. She's going to be entering her senior year. We may not see her as that go-to scorer that's just going to completely shut down opposing teams and help get the Cards on a big run by dropping buckets left and right. But she brings a level of energy to the team that was kind of unmatched that we've saw since Jasmine Jones. And she's that do-it-all player. If you see one of your teammates out there hustling and busting their butt and diving on the floor for loose balls, it makes you want to do just that much more. So I think, especially as a senior, we're really going to see Mikasa step up and be kind of that go-to player, that senior leader. I do think we're going to see a mixture, though, of Haley Van Lith and Kiana Smith kind of being your reliable scorers, though. I don't want to say they're going to be your leader to really get the team going, but I think if the team needs a bucket to get a little bit of a run going, I think we're going to look towards Kiana and Haley for that bucket.
Good analysis, and certainly we can manage to beat Duke a couple times now that they are become Louisville South with their lineup additions. In case you hadn't heard, Balagoon has joined Nia Green down there, and as a Blue Devil, we'll certainly want to beat them whenever we play them next year for sure. Seeing what happens with that will be interesting indeed. I wonder if there will be a post-game handshake, you think? I don't know. So maybe not.
Depends on how COVID goes.
Yeah.
That's it. Louisville lacrosse will find out tomorrow night at 9 o'clock whether they have made it into the NCAA tournament or not. The Cards squarely on the bubble, to use the terminology. Certainly one of the strongest conferences in any type of sport in any nation, anywhere. ACC lacrosse hopes to get a lot of schools into that NCAA tournament. I think, Jeff, would we come up with 24 teams?
I think that's what they're doing. I haven't found confirmation on that, but I believe that's correct.
Louisville squarely on the bubble to make it in. So let's hope the best for Scott Teeter and his crew to get a chance to get in and try their hand in the NCAA, another Louisville women's sports team participating in the national championship scenario. You gotta love it, gang. It's fantastic. Also want to cover just a little bit of volleyball news. There's a Morning Star. I see it, Jeff. What is this I see?
Yeah, Paige Morningstar out of Pittsburgh. The city of Pittsburgh has been named the Pennsylvania Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Pennsylvania. Great honor. Paige is committed, signed to the Cards, will be here in the fall. She is a 6 foot tall setter, which is pretty tall for a setter. We were talking about that before the show. We're excited to see that. She comes from a fairly athletic family, the Morningstar family. You might be familiar with Darren Morningstar is her father and played in the NBA for a few years. So, several sisters that have played also in D1 athletics. This is another one I'm excited to see what she does. She's coming in. Presumably she'll be behind Tori Dilfer in the setting lineup, but Tori is coming back for the next year that she gets with COVID. So that's an extra year on there, but give Paige a chance to study under her leadership and learn the system, learn the D1 level of play a little bit, and then probably come into her own after that. The only thing I could see happening is if we get some sort of like senior or graduate transfer coming in this setter role, but I don't expect that at this point. With Paige coming in, we've got a good lineup for setters at this point between Tori and Paige. So, and then Rachel DeMarcus and Jamie Vasily sitting in the wings that are also competent setters. They're just a little shorter, so that's a little challenging for them to play the setter role at D1 levels. So, yeah, it's exciting. It's a great honor for Paige. I have had the opportunity to meet her as well already, and her father Darren, and excited to see them come on campus. It's a great honor and continues the great recruiting by Danny Busman Kelly.
And Jared, just taking a look at this volleyball team that Danny Busman Kelly are coming back next year. I mean, this is a powerhouse. It's even reloaded even more here.
Oh yeah, there's if I remember correctly, it's just Alexis Hamilton that is graduating and not returning. Everybody else should be back. So you're bringing back
Piper Rowe.
You're right, Piper Rowe.
Yep.
So you're bringing back a lot of players with experience, and many of these players now have 2 years of NCAA tournament experience. A Sweet 16 appearance this most recent year, and an Elite 8 back before COVID started. So you have players who understand what it's like to be there and how to get there, and the preparation of what's paid off and worked along the way. It's going to be a lot of leadership in the mix. And I think all we're doing is we're just adding more talent to what we already have. The blocking was fantastic this past year. Let's go on and beef that up and make it even that much better and blow everybody out of the water with the blocking. The one thing that seemed to be hit or miss sometimes, which I know we have those high-risk, high-reward servers in the mix, is we did have a personal preference, just too many service errors for me. So I'd really like us to be able to clean that up, but sometimes that's just that whole high-risk, high-reward situation you get yourself in with your servers.
One of the things that can happen in volleyball if you don't get it over that net, or if you get it too high over that net, sometimes the defense over there can do a nice setup and really make you pay for it. But certainly the Cards have got So much talent coming back, Daryl. This should be such a fun team to watch next year.
I'm excited. I like seeing this team get a little further every year, which I feel like Danny's a great fit for the program. She's exciting. She's getting these players excited to be at Louisville, and yeah, we just watched UK win a title. I think Louisville's not that far behind. I just wish we were first.
Yeah, we always want to finish in front of Kentucky, whatever we do, but didn't happen. But we're on the road to do that. Hopefully, we just need to make sure that Danny wears the right blouse and blazer.
That's right. Red sequin blazer, man. It's got to come back at some point, right?
That's right. Maybe she should be like, go ahead and get a whole closet full of them, and just say, well, what will I wear today? Cardigan? No, I think I'll wear my blazer. Taylor Swift reference there.
I appreciate that reference. I'm glad you know the difference, Paul. There is a difference.
There is definitely a difference, and having never worn a cardigan sweater, I can't really tell you how comfortable they are. We'll leave that to Daryl to do research on and let us know. Maybe November this year would be a good time, Daryl, to break that out. How do you feel on that cardigan? So we have already reached the noon hour here in what has been a fast-paced, very exciting show for us. And I think that with no further ado, we'll kind of roll into our final thoughts, unless there's anything left on the table out there that we haven't discussed. I'm trying to think of anything at all, but I think we're pretty much done there, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's roll
final. Lacrosse on the selection show tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that we see the Cards name get called tomorrow, and a happy Scott Teeter from it.
Yeah.
Hoping for the best for Scott and the Lax girls, and certainly hope that they can make the tournament, as we mentioned earlier, another NCAA appearance for Louisville in another sport, another women's sport. Women's sports on campus are definitely doing much better than men's sports, let's face it. And that's what we cover, women's sport. So good for us. Yes, we have the good stuff going. So let's kind of roll into some final thoughts here. Jared, let's start with you. You've been active in a lot of things lately. Some final thoughts out of you?
Just more congratulations to everybody graduating. I know, especially as a student athlete, how difficult and challenging it can be to be able to balance both your life as a student, but also your life as an athlete, because you're kind of working 2 full-time jobs just from that aspect alone. So it is quite an accomplishment, and we're always happy to see our Cards go on and do great things. And for those who had reached out for grad photos, it is much appreciated, and I'm grateful for all of those who have.
Absolutely, keep our boy employed. That's what we like to see. Jeff, your final thoughts?
Yeah, it kind of echo those. It's kind of almost wrap up time, it feels like, for us for the season. There's still some things going on. We still got postseason we still got rest of the series for softball, but we're nearing the end of the season. Lacrosse selection postseason getting ready to start. Hopefully we're part of that. It's been this crazy weird spring, and it feels like, from the perspective of UofL sports, it's kind of coming to a close, which is a little bittersweet. I know we're gonna have our summer slump coming up here, but it's great to see these teams doing so well. I'm excited.
Indeed, we are, and certainly very excited and very proud of what the Louisville women's sports programs have done, not only in the fall but in the spring. Certainly a great thing to watch and be a part of. Daryl, what do you got for me here on final thoughts?
Echoing the same sort of thing. Congrats to all the graduates. I've been looking at pictures and stuff of the ceremony over at Cardinal Stadium. Looks really cool. To have it out there. Everybody's spaced apart. Looks like, I wish I had mine that way. But we were all packed on top of each other in the Yum Center. But that made me think of how I can't believe it's been 6 years since I graduated UofL, which got me thinking it's been 12 years since I graduated high school. So just time flies, and just congrats to all the grads. Looking forward to the ACC tournament next week, which means I'll be out of radio for that. I'll be over at the network building pretty early. Might be able to hop on, but then I have vacation the following week. So get my little break in, and then I'll be back on as well.
And certainly have a great time doing that. You certainly earned a vacation after all you've been doing. As far as final thoughts from me, I just want to take a minute to wish all the moms listening out there a happy Mother's Day tomorrow, Sunday. Certainly, I know that most of you guys still have your moms, and certainly I hope that you remember them. I recall fondly my mother and the things and the sacrifices she made for our family all those years, and certainly keep her in my thoughts and prayers and mine. And if you got a mom, hey, this will be a good day tomorrow. Just a reminder that you love her every day, and certainly that you're there for her. So y'all go ahead and do that, and I'm sure that they'll appreciate it, and certainly it's the right thing to do. So
thank you, Paul.
No problem. And unfortunately, we have no mothers on the show. I know we've been called a lot of things, but mother's not being one of them. Anyway, everybody have yourself a great rest of the day and a great Mother's Day weekend. And we'll see you next week here for Cardinal Couple. Everybody have a good one. Bye-bye.